Hello everyone. We have been discussing about the fundamentals of electricity in the introduction sessions. So we are going to try out the same thing in lab. So before going to the lab, we'll have a quick introduction to the lab. There's a separate video on how to use the WalkV tool. We will be using the tool called online tool called WalkV. There's a separate video on how to use the WalkV tool. I request you to get accustomed to that. And we will be seeing some basics. Quickly, we will be refreshing our basics here before going into the lab. So in the lab, we are going to look at some of the switches. Okay, so let's quickly look at switch. Okay, what is the switch? Switch is a device which will either on or off or make or break a contact. Correct? For example, think about it like this. This is a switch, correct? So this is the break status of the switch or off status of the switch. This is the on status of the switch, correct? You switch it on, you push this down, so now it is on, completing the circuit. So here we have the circuit. Let's say this is connected to a bulb. The bulb is off, whereas here when I have the battery and I am having the bulb glows here because the circuit is completed. Correct? This is the on status or the make status of the switch. Correct? So we need to understand there are some different types of switches. We are going to see that in lab. Types. There is something called as a push button. This you guys will be very familiar, but this is what you see in your remote controls. Correct? So you can imagine it like this. This is the contact and this is the button. So when you press, the contact is made. When you release, the contact is broken. So when you press, the contact is made. When you release, the contact is broken. Next type of switch is called as a throw switch. This is what you see for all your fan, light, all those things. Or in your house, what switch you see for all your fan, light and all. It is like this. So when you switch on, when you switch it on, it will remain in the on state. Even if you leave the switch, it will remain in the on state. Here, if you press the button, the switch goes to on state. If you leave the button, it goes to off state. Whereas in this case, you switch it on, it will remain in the on state. You switch it off, it will remain in the off state. That is what we call as a throw switch. Okay, a special case of throw switch is called as slide switch. Okay, in slide switch, it's going to have 3 contacts. Okay, it's going to be interesting. Okay, it's going to have something called as a common. You can imagine a slide switch to be like this. Okay, this is the slide. It will be like this. So this is one contact. Okay, this is a contact. It has 3 terminals. Okay, so I will call this as 1, 2 and 3. So in this position, the slide switch can be in 2 positions. One is this, and when it slides, so it can slide like this or like this. Okay, so it's already in this position. Now it can slide like this. So when it slides, so in this position, it is making contact between 1 and 2, made contact. and here it is broken the contact. Correct? Whereas when you slide it, after sliding it will look like this. So this is your 1 and 3 has made the contact, and here it is broken. Look at this. Here 1 was connected to 2. When you slide it here, 1 is now connected to 3 and 1 is disconnected from the 2. Okay, so this is what is a slide switch. Okay, this is what is called as a slide switch. So by default, without doing anything, the switch is in this position. So this contact is called as a normally closed contact, and this contact is called as normally open contact. Normally closed and this is normally open. Okay, and when you slide it on, the normally closed contact gets open and normally open contact gets closed. Okay, so when the switch is off, it is making the contact here. When the switch is on, it makes the contact here between 1 and 2. Okay, this is what we call as the slide switch. The next is a special category of switch called as dip switch.